That's Halloween music. This is a tell-all.
A tell-all?
A tell-all. Go ahead. Ask me, Kendall. Pretend like you're the host and I'm your subject. Go on. Do it.
What do you want me to? I don't understand the format.
Do it. Do it.
So, Max, thanks for joining us on the show. So I heard you've got some paranormal stories for us. Is that right?
Yes. Cue the creepy music.
It has been cued. All right, caller. Why don't you lay it on us then?
All right. Well, okay. So I'm going to leave one story out because it is a story that I drove into the woods and recorded. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that one out so I don't waste a video. So I work at a place, and I'm going to try and keep the place vague for purposes.
Yeah.
But I'll explain what I have to explain. And there's been a series of little things now turning into bigger things that have led me to believe that this place is in fact inhabited by haunted ghosts. And
ghosts, you say?
Well, I don't know about ghosts. I think yes, probably ghosts. But I think it's fucking haunted, man. I think it's haunted. And I know that I'm the one of the group here that is always like, I think it's haunted. I think it's this or that. I get it. All right. I'm the tinfoil hat one. I get it. I'm not totally unaware of myself.
Right.
I realize that I'm the one that's always like, oh, it's got to be Bigfoot. Oh, it's got to be a ghost. Oh, it's probably skin crawler, man. It's probably the people-handed cat. Whatever.
People-handed Bigfoot skin walking ghost alien demon boy.
Yep. I realize that I'm that guy that always says that. So take it with a grain of salt. You don't want to believe me, then don't fucking believe me. All right? It's just Halloween. Take it easy. So anyway, the first thing that happened... part of my job used to be, it's not currently anymore, part of my job used to be, and it's all part of the same department. But I used to be in a different part of this department that I am now, and it involves a lot of unloading pallets. We have a big storage area. Big. It's huge. Like, the storage area is probably the size of a Walgreens. A big Walgreens. And that's just the storage area.
Damn.
Yeah, it's huge. And it involves it involves probably 3 or 4 rooms full of stuff. And the particular room I was in was what it's called the dry room. And this is where all of the dry goods are kept.
Right.
And I was alone in there. It was probably 2 in the afternoon. This is a few years ago now. It was probably 2 in the afternoon. I go to pick up an item off of the pallet. And I guess I'll explain the room. The room is pretty big. It's probably 60 feet long by maybe 40 feet. And it's in a basement of a hospital. And it's an old hospital. And it's just it's creepy. It looks kind of like the storage room in The Shining, except it's bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than that. But it kind of looks like that.
So extra creepier than that.
Yes. And in the center of the room, there's a big pillar, and it's huge. I mean, it could be as wide as I am laying down. Like it could be 6 foot. It could be 6 feet around. I mean, it's a big pillar. The building sits on it. Clearly, it's a structural thing. And this pillar just shoots up straight up through several floors and all that. But down in the basement, it just is in the middle of the storeroom. That just happens to be where it's at. So you kind of got to go around it. All the shelves are positioned around it, and it just hangs out in the middle of the room. So there's this big obstruction. So I pick up an item, and sort of over to my right, somebody maybe 20 feet away, I glance someone standing there near a door, and it's a woman. And it's not uncommon for nurses or floor stock people to show up, and people I've never seen before. It's certainly not uncommon, and grab items or sign for items or something like that. So I kind of make eye contact, and this woman has a very strange look on her face, and she's almost like, Donald Sutherland in Body Snatchers, when he kind of tilts his head back and his eyes are wide and he just points.
Oh, no.
I won't say it was as intense as that, but it was akin to that.
Oh, no, dude.
And it was at me. And I thought, wow, that's weird. So I kind of don't pay any mind to it. I'm just like, oh, that's whatever. And I put the thing down in the corner where it goes. And I had to cross this pillar. This pillar broke line of sight for a second as I walked across the room, right? Mm-hmm. And once I walked past the pillar, I looked over again, and she's still staring at me doing this. And she's not pointing, but that's just what her face is doing. And I put the thing down, and I turn around, and I look over there, and she's gone.
Nope.
She's gone. And that's also not uncommon, because the door was right there. But I thought, this is strange, and I hurriedly crossed over to that side of the room to see if I could see her leaving. And I hurriedly went down the hallway to see if I could see her leaving. And I just know that I would have seen her. I don't know how else to put it. I know I would have seen her. I would have seen somebody going some way because I did not take that much time. So I was like, that was really strange. I decided to myself that this was not right. This did not belong. I'd never seen this person before. And that coupled in with everything else, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go upstairs and check the cameras. There's a camera room, and there's many cameras in this room that I work in. There's at least 6 in this room, and they cover that. They cover
Max
that door.
He just works in the back rooms, guys. Don't worry about it.
It kind of looks like that. I mean, down there, it kind of looks like that. I'm not gonna lie. So I go upstairs. There's the camera guy, and I say, "Hey, I don't know how else to say this, but I think I saw a ghost." And to my surprise, camera guy says, "Really?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Yeah." Well, let's have a look. And we run the camera back just like 3 minutes. Like, it was no time at all. And that fucking pillar, perfectly blocked the camera from catching where she would have been standing.
Ooh, okay.
Now, you see me in the footage.
Right.
Pick up the box. Look over there. Do a double take. Walk across the room. Put the box down. Do a second double take. Run back out. And in this footage, you never lose sight of the door because it's a security camera and it's on the only door in there.
Right.
But what I saw was a woman standing there looking at me. And what I failed to see once again on a third pass was the woman continuing to stand there looking at me. Meanwhile, the camera's on the door the whole time, right? The camera never witnessed a woman leave the room.
It just saw you.
It just saw me.
Oh, man.
Meanwhile, what I witnessed was a woman staring at me, and then she was gone.
Oh, man.
I wasn't truly freaked out until I saw that. And he's sitting there looking at the camera. So I don't see a ghost, Max. I said, well, that's kind of really weird. I said it would have been normal if we saw a woman leave. And I explained to him everything I just explained here.
Right.
And he's like, really? I mean, he didn't scoff at me or anything. He's like, huh. Well, you certainly are looking at something. That was sort of his reaction. I was like, yeah, I was looking at a lady sitting there. So if I were to explain this woman, to describe this woman, she, I don't know, 5'5", 5'6", so average height. She was wearing white, and I can't recall if this woman was in scrubs or a gown or just in white. I can't recall. She could have been a patient. She could have been a nurse. She could have been a doctor. I just remember it was white. And I couldn't tell you if the pants were a different color or anything like that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
She was blonde, maybe dirty blonde, and what I would call slightly above average good looking, and probably about my age. Had her hair, I remember bangs, or like a bob style hair, and just doing that sort of half Donald Sutherland body snatchers thing at me. Locking eyes. I made eye contact.
Ay.
So anyway, that was the first thing that happened.
That's I just love the security guy's like very chill reaction. He's probably seen shit, dude. You know,
probably.
he is.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's watched his camera all the time. So anyway, okay. So that was the first thing that's happened. I changed positions in this place, and I've moved to a different floor, and I got a promotion and all this stuff, and I now work on another level of the same operation. And I was the new guy, and I was given night shifts. Now, it's sort of been a weird, sick dream of mine. Anyone that's listened to the channel for a while knows that I've had a fascination with people who work night shifts at these kinds of places. And here I am. I've got it.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Again, I want to keep it as vague as possible, but I manage the team I had at night. It was a skeleton night crew, you know, and they all have their positions assigned to them, and I'm the leader. And this began almost a year and a half ago now. It's a night shift. The night shift begins in the late evening and it ends in the early hours of the morning. What happens on this night shift is I have about 3 or 4 people assigned to me. They have their stations to work and they keep pretty busy because it's a skeleton crew, and I'm the one that's usually left with nothing to do because it's night shift, and I just have to sit there and wait, and it can get really really long, really boring. You know, it's like, how many times can I sweep? How many times can I check the camera? How many times can I check my email? You know, it's just one of those. Like, some nights just get like that. How many nights can I walk around the room and make sure everything's going okay? So I was sitting in my office, and the office has a little hallway leading to it. And there's a desk in the office, and it faces away from the door, but the door, it's not like I can turn around and look out the door. The door has a little outcropping thing, and you got to kind of lean over and look down the hallway. You can't just look straight down the door. So anyway, I'm sitting there at my desk, and I could have been nearly dozing off, who knows, but I remember just hearing movement outside the door, and outside in that hallway is like where the schedules are posted and all this kind of stuff. And I just remember hearing movement, just shuffling, just noise. And I was thinking, okay, it's an employee looking at their papers or something.
Right.
And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and it goes on for way too long. And the more I sit there and listen to it, the more I have the urge to look behind my back. And because I feel like I'm starting to feel more and more like there's an employee who keeps peeking in at me to see if I'm paying attention.
Right.
So finally I'm like, okay, who the fuck get back to work. And I go to look down the hallway and no one's there. So I get a bit of a moment of what the shititude. And
what the shititude.
And I'm not thinking ghost, mind you. I know I'm the guy, like I said, I'm always the guy to think ghosts, but I'm not thinking ghosts because there's other people here. I just thought it was a person.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, that was strange. I get up and I walk out on the floor, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Matter of fact, it was busy, and everyone was pretty much confined to their stations. And I thought, well, I didn't hear any of them, did I? And it was that kind of shit for several months. So the big thing that happened one night, this is the first time I thought ghost. I'm about to tell you the first time I thought ghost. Again, you know, besides the woman staring at me. So it was Thanksgiving. I can't remember if it was the weekend before or after, or the day before after. I just know that we were doing our Thanksgiving shit, and it went from skeleton crew to like me and one other person crew. And of course I'm the new guy, so I have to work all the shitty holidays and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I don't care, whatever. So it's Thanksgiving, or the day after, I don't think it was actually the day of Thanksgiving. I just think it was like the week of at some point. And the room I'm in, I'm serving the public to some extent, right? So right. I have to deal with people coming up to where we are. and assist them, and then they go away. So I have to be ready I have to be there at a counter waiting for that. I have the door propped open that leads to the back, which is where my office and things are, right? Mm-hmm. And then the only other person there was out further on the floor in a spot where I couldn't see them, tending to people over there. So I know they didn't have anything to do with what happens. So anyway, a patron comes up, and I'm assisting this person, and remember, I have the door to the back opened, and the back of the operation has many doors. My office, another hallway leading out the back, bathrooms, another door leading through another exit, an elevator. There's a lot going on back there. Closets, that sort of thing. But I hear one of the doors to another hallway swing open. It's those push bar doors?
Yeah.
I hear the bar push, and I hear the door swing open. And then I hear footsteps sounding like they're running from the door across the room.
Okay.
Like shoes. I hear somebody run across the room behind me. And I look, and the door's propped open, and I kind of peek my head in that room, and I don't see anybody, and it's lit up. I mean, I have all the lights on, And I turn and I look at this woman that I was in the middle of taking care of, and her eyes are wide open.
Oh.
And I said, "Did you see anybody run by?" And she looks at me and she says, "I saw nobody run by."
Oh.
And I say, "But you heard that, right?" She's like, "Yeah, I heard that." Okay. And we just kind of looked at each other and acknowledged that shouldn't have happened, And that was the first time being assigned to the new position that I thought, that was a fucking ghost.
Yeah.
That was a fucking ghost. So now I'm tuned into it, right? Every time I go there at night, I'm like, okay, there's shit here now. And maybe now that's influencing me to a point of every little thing is a ghost, and I try not to let that happen. So, skip forward a few months. Back on the night shift, back on normal, holidays are done, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in my office, waiting for the night to end. Everything's done. I'm just waiting for business hours to end.
Waiting for the ghosts.
Basically. And contrary to what people may believe, I don't sit there thinking of ghosts 24/7. I don't. I'm sitting there thinking of it's big. I'm sitting there thinking about what can I do to make the last 2 hours pass,
Like any normal person. Yeah. Like anybody.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and the fire alarm goes off. And I'm new, and I'm leadership, and I'm like, oh, Jesus. What the fuck? I'm the leadership. I'm the one who's responsible for anything about to happen. So I go out on the floor, and I'm back to, full staff, what my full staff is, and everybody's at their stations. The alarm's blaring, but, I don't see a fire. I got 5 people working for me that night. They're all on their stations. They're all doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I listen to the intercom, and it's going, bam, 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 fire in section whatever.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, that's the section next to mine. So I go out in the main hallway, and I see the maintenance dudes. One dude was a shirt and tie dude, so I know it was real. Like, it wasn't just a drill. And
right.
the other one was a crocodile shirt actual maintenance dude with his keys jingling, and they're walking to the section next to mine. I say, okay, so I go back in my back room, and I know that the section they're walking into is the hallway where this door swang open during Thanksgiving. I go through that door, and there they both are. And they've got their scanners, and they've got their smoke detectors, and they've got their temperature readers, and they are scanning that hallway up and down.
Right.
But what was most curious is when I opened that door, a fruity, raspberry-like smell just slapped me in the face.
Just wafted through at you?
Just wham! Right in my olfactory. And I was like, Jesus, God, what's that? It smelled like a cigar. I was
like a sweet cigar,
yeah. I was like, oh my God. And they said, somebody been smoking back here? I was like, no, all my guys are doing what they're supposed to be doing. He's like, you've been smoking? I said, I don't smoke. I've never smoked in my life. And we all kind of looked around and we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I'm beside him, and the police are on their way at this point. Whenever a fire alarm goes off like this, the police have to come as well.
Not the fire department, the police?
Well, these guys were part of the fire department as well.
Okay.
Like it was a real fire alarm. This was no joke.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, okay, did anyone of mine come into these bathrooms? Because there's bathrooms in this back hallway.
Right. Toss a cigarette in a trash can. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking all that kind of stuff. We look, there's nothing. The smell is still there. I mean, I go back into my section. I go back and into the hallway again, and the smell is still there. I'm not nose deaf. It's still really strong. So we go into from the hallway to the next section away from me, which is a little corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And we go into there and we smell like a rubber burning smell, like a vacuum belt smell.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. And we're kind of like, okay, is it the light? And they don't know. I mean, these guys, these maintenance dudes are no joke. They fix stuff all day, right? And they can't figure it out. And we all get in this little corridor, and that door slams shut.
Like behind you or in front of you?
Yes, behind us. It slams shut. And those doors, it's hard to explain, but they don't do that.
Are they the kind that have the like the piston that kind of lets them close slowly? Okay.
Yes. And then we try to get back in there, and it locked.
What?
And then the dude with the keys is trying his key, and it won't open. And all three of us are in there, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? So we have to go outside of the building, because the next door, it leads to outside.
Uh-huh.
We go outside, and we have to walk around the entire hospital to go back in the front, to get back to where I'm supposed to go. And when I get back to, where I started from, the police are waiting there, and they're like, did you want to report anything? I said, I have nothing to report. There's no fire. All of my employees have been accounted for the whole time. Mm-hmm. You can talk to the maintenance guys. I mean, I'm sorry, I have nothing. The alarm wasn't in my section anyway. It was in the next one.
Yeah.
And she was kind of pissed, but she was like, okay, But I went back in that hallway again, and the smell was still there. And I mean, even if somebody smokes in those, which some people have smoked in those bathrooms before, it never hung out like that.
Right.
But it was just weird. I mean, it's hard for me to not say ghost at that, because a lot of things didn't act like they were supposed to. And then the alarm stopped. The alarm stopped, I would say, about a minute after it pushed us out of the building, more or less. And then we had to walk all the way around.
Did somebody shut it off, though? I mean, that could just be...
I mean, that could be too. But the point is that if smoke is being detected, it's going to run,
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. But that was really, really weird. And I reported it the next day, and everyone's like, oh, we've never had anything like that happen on our night shifts. And there's people been here 30 years,
Right.
I said, wow, okay. That is strange. I don't know what to say about that. So then skip forward again. I'm in front of this door that has all this action going on. This is after, who knows how long after that. I can't even tell you the time frame. But I'm talking to another employee, another manager. I'm leaning on something right next to this door. He's just standing there. And I'm literally, this door is 2 feet away from me to my right side.
Right.
It's closed. We're just bullshitting about whatever. I hear the bar on this door go clunk, and I hear the door swing open, and I hear it close. But the door never moved. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. I said, did you hear that? He's like, yeah, the fucking door opened. I said, yeah, but the door didn't move. He's like, yeah, but I heard it. I can't explain it. Because then I opened the door and looked in the hallway, and there's nothing else in there that sounds like that. There's nothing else in there that moves like that.
Yeah, that was my question, was like, is there another door nearby that could have...
No. No. Not like that. I mean, it was so distinct. It was absolute, and it was so close to me. It was that door, but it didn't move. So that's my saga at work, That's my saga. And... you talk to some of these ladies that have been there 30 years or whatever, and they say, oh, yeah, it's haunted. It's like everyone knows. It's a hospital. Sure, everyone talks about it being haunted. It's an old hospital. Oh, yeah, it's got to be haunted. It's like, yeah, I get it now. I've been there 4 years, and I already feel like I get that. I get that feeling, You talk to one of these ladies that's one in particular. She's like, "Oh, I see shapes all the time at night." It's like, what? She's like, "Yeah, when I." she's so apathetic towards it. Yeah, sometimes I just want a nap, and I go down there in the storage room essentially where I worked. So I go down there try and catch a half hour of sleep, and I just see the shapes. I'm like, "Are you sleeping down there? Are you crazy?"
Yeah, what the fuck? I just see the shapes.
I was like, I see the shadows. Like, what the fuck? You're nuts. Don't do that. So, it's just so second nature. It's like, oh yeah, it's haunted. I mean, there's weird shit that happens. I'll be walking towards the elevator and the elevator will open. And no one's in there coming out.
I mean, it could just be the way the elevator works, man.
It could be, but I mean, it's so consistent. It's so weird. And there's no shortage of hearing voices. The problem with hearing voices is in the daytime it's so busy. If you are hearing ghost voices, you probably can't distinguish it from regular voices. But once that third shift comes in, which I'm not on anymore. I'm on day shift now. But once that third shift comes in and there's no voices other than the ghosts, then you start asking yourself, like, what was that? Who just called my name? And there have been instances where I've heard my name. Like, I've heard my name. And I would say around 6 o'clock in the evening, maybe 6:30. It's pretty consistent. There's a woman. I'm assuming she's a woman or was a woman, however you want to look at it. Could be the one that I saw down in the basement who calls out, "Hey, Max." And it's happened about 3 times now. And it's happened when there's been no other female employees there that know my name. And it's also happened in front of other people who I'll look at them and say, "Did you hear that?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, I heard that." And it's like, okay, it's not just me. Fucking shit's haunted, man.
I mean, you know what you gotta do, man.
Yeah.
You gotta get it. You gotta get in there with your little parabolic dish and your EMF reader, and you gotta.
I do.
You gotta ghost quester it up, bro.
Sometimes my night shifts entailed having to go down back into the basement at 3 o'clock in the morning to wrap things up. To finish off the shift, to like put things back away or whatever.
Yeah.
And there would be night, and at night, all the lights are off, and it's the basement, and it's dark. And I saw ghosts down there. And there would be some nights I wouldn't feel anything. I walk down there and I'd be fine. Most nights, actually, I would feel fine doing that, and it'd just be me. And maybe someone mopping a floor down the hall or something.
Yeah.
But some nights, man, I'd go down there and I'd be putting things away and sorting things out. And I would just feel, and I really try and not let myself be influenced by the idea that I feel like there's ghosts. And usually when I'm doing my work, that's not on my mind. Like, really, I want to go home, right?
Right.
So yeah. I really am not thinking ghosts. I'm thinking, okay, I got to put this away. I got to do this. I got to sign off on this. And like, I'm not thinking ghosts. And I just have a list of stuff that I want to do. And I'll go down there. And there's been a handful of times, it's just been the worst feeling ever. And it seems to come out of nowhere. And it's just like it's like a gross feeling. It's like I don't want to say watched, but I don't know how else to put it. It's it's just like, it's the feeling that I always talk about of like, you just can't wait to get out of the room fast enough and you don't want to turn around and look back. It's exactly that feeling, and it's not consistent, which makes me think it's even more strange, So anyway, that's that. I think my department, I mean, probably the whole hospital, honestly, because it's a hospital, but I think my department is haunted. Sorry.
Sorry. Not sorry.
I don't know. Any comments, Kendall?
I mean, I know I kind of said it tongue in cheek, and I know it's work. It's kind of weird, but I wish there was a way you could like record something. Because if you could get like somebody, like a disembodied voice, calling her name, if it's that frequent of a thing, that'd be nuts. Dang, if you could get some of that creepus, like, because of the facility you work at, I mean, there's security cameras everywhere. They definitely see stuff. If
sure.
it's that active, and you've got other people who are just like, oh yeah, place is haunted, whatever. Like definitely they see stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if we could get some of that, that'd be great.
Yeah. I've thought about like, what if I took audio recorders in there, because nothing's being seen, and
Right.
and just kind of on one of my slow, like if I ever get a night shift again or have to cover something, or if I just sort of sat there and had it on and listened. Because I mean, it's to the point now where other employees are like, I think your friend's calling for you. It's like, dude, stop.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Don't say that. That's so creepy. Why would you do that? That's so... Ooh.
Just stop it.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be good. It would be a good ghost haunt.
Yeah, I mean... And that's the thing, too, right? It's like, hospitals are supposed to be, pretty active, if you believe in that kind of thing, right?
Sure.
A lot of death, a lot of misery, a lot of sadness, a lot of energy going on there.
Yeah.
And, I'm uneasy in occupied hospitals and the normal places you're supposed to be, so...
Sure.
But I think that's just because I'm a, big hot weenie and I don't like hospitals and whatnot. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, I appreciate you that you keep circling back to, your mind isn't in that space, though. You're there because it's work and you're just kind of in work mode. And then on top of that, the weird shit's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think that the smoke could have been, a Swisher Sweet, one of those...
I'm all for that. But what
Yeah.
the smoke couldn't have been is that door slamming shut the way it did.
That's what I was going to say, is the door slamming and then the lock malfunctioning on the door, which I assume they fixed it.
I mean, it was never broken.
Well, then why wouldn't it unlock, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like,
I don't know. I mean...
it's one of those push bar doors, right? You can't, jam those.
Yeah.
Right? They're specifically designed...
Okay, so that door... So the door that slammed was a handled door.
Okay.
But the lock on it was a deadbolt and not the handle. And to lock the deadbolt, you need the key.
Right.
And
it's... Okay.
And when it slammed, unless the deadbolt
There's no way it would engage.
vibrated into its slot. Yeah, exactly.
There's no way.
Yeah. But
I mean, again...
Yeah.
Somebody might have been hiding there, not wanting to get caught smoking on company time, in indoors, whatever. Maybe, but it is super, super, super weird, though.
They'd literally have to hide in the ceiling. Because there's
Yeah.
nowhere in that hallway they could hide.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean,
Damn.
there's nowhere. I mean, they can't hide behind the door because the door opens up flush to the wall. And it's pinned to stay that way. And the hallway is barely wider than my shoulders.
That's a tight fucking hallway, damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a passway to get to the fire exit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
that's all it is. And you go the other way, it's the bathrooms. And that's it.
Boy, that's weird. And where does the door that slammed, where does that lead to again?
That leads to a corridor that leads to fire stairs and then outside.
So you don't think they could have been just hiding on the other side of the door? Like in the stairs or something?
No, because when we got out to the stairs, then it closed.
Oh.
Yes, it locked us out of the building. Yes.
Okay, I have a complete picture now.
Yeah.
So you went through the tight hallway, passed through the door.
Yes.
Once you were on the outside, it slammed behind you and locked.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's super unlikely that somebody was skulking behind you waiting to lock you guys out so they could get away.
I feel like we would have heard them or seen them,
Right.
I just...
Dang.
Yeah. It's really bizarre.
That is super bizarre.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Yep. And that door's not motorized or on a magnet or anything.
Yeah, it's not supposed to close itself. Gotcha.
There are doors that are, but not that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And even motorized doors, though, they're not supposed to slam themselves shut.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if it's like one of those like hinges up top, and I guess when those can go out, they can kind of sometimes slam, but it's not under their own power, though. It's like if the wind hits it and that thing's kind of weak, it'll slam.
Right.
Yeah, but if those are functioning correctly, it's they get to a certain threshold point, and then it's just like it'll push itself closed. kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's so that's so weird. That's definitely something's going on. Something I can't explain.
Something sporpule, dorpule.
Sporpule, dorpule, sporpus.
So yeah.
Pretty good sporp. Anyway,
Pretty good sporp.
pretty good spot.
All right, guys. That's it.
That was it. That's yeah. Keep the sporp train buzzing.
Good night.
Is that what we're saying?
Just keep the sporp train buzzing.
Yeah.
Keep the sporp train tooting.
Tootin'.